morning, and welcome into your Monday morning episode of Hoops Talk with Dave. I'm your host, Dave Smith, bringing you all the scores, updates, and news you need to know from the full weekend of college basketball and NBA action. Hey, we are less than 3 weeks away from Selection Sunday, 20 days from today to be exact, from when we get our first bracket, and 23 days away from when the round of 64 tips off. So a lot of great stuff coming in college basketball, and we are less than 2 months away from the start of NBA playoffs as well. So a lot of stuff coming up rather quickly as well. So got to be ready for that. Got to be excited for it as well. Taking a look at some scores from over the weekend. Michigan State goes on the road to Michigan, takes down the Wolverines. The Wolverines were 3.5-point home favorites. The Spartans win by 13. Jace Richardson leading the scores for Michigan State with 21 points. Vlad Golden leading the scores for Michigan with 21 points as well. Michigan State winning the second half 41-24, winning the game 75-62. Also on Friday night, Villanova getting a big-time home win over Marquette. We've seen this Villanova team have their ups and downs throughout the year. Their resume right now not good enough for an at-large bid. They would probably need to make the finals of the Big East tournament to have a chance at an at-large bid, but I still think they would probably need to win the whole thing to get the automatic bid. Nonetheless, a great win for Villanova. Eric Dixon leading the way with 23 points. On Saturday, a ton of fun action here. A lot of ranked teams in action. Starting in the SEC, number 6 Tennessee at number 7 Texas A&M, and the Volunteers winning 77-69. Chaz Lanier leading all scores with 30 points, shooting 10 of 18 from the field. Tennessee came in as a slight favorite on the road for this one. They sure looked like it. They won this one 77-69. That's back-to-back losses for the A&M Aggies, who look like one of the best teams in all of college basketball. They'll be looking to recover and bounce back later this week. In Tuscaloosa, the Crimson Tide playing host to the Kentucky Wildcats. Dick Vitale was on the call for this one. Great to hear his voice as always. The Crimson Tide rolled in this one, winning 96-83. Mark Sears leading the way with 30 points, shooting 11 of 11 from the free throw line. Big-time game for the All-American Mark Sears. Once again, the Tide winning 96-83. The top two teams in the country, Auburn and Florida in action. Auburn beating Georgia 82-70. This game was closer than the score might indicate. Georgia was keeping it close all throughout the second half. They were within striking distance several times, unable to ever really get over the hump. Great showing from Auburn, winning 82-70. The Gators of Florida on the road at LSU. Hey, LSU up by 6 at the half. Florida wins the second half by 20, wins the game by 14. A few more SEC teams in action. The Razorbacks playing host to the Missouri Tigers. Mizzou, of course, coming off a massive win against Alabama. Unable to keep the momentum going. A great win for Calipari and his Razorbacks as they now sit inside the tournament field, picking up a couple of massive wins in SEC play. Of course, they did not start conference play very well. They have since recovered, look great now. They won this one over Missouri 92-85. In Nashville, the Vanderbilt Commodores playing host to the Ole Miss Rebels. Number 24, Ole Miss. Vandy getting a big home win, their third quad one win of the season. Much needed for a Vanderbilt team who was still on the right side of the bubble, but able to kind of give themselves a little bit more breathing room, maybe even play their way into an 8 or a 9 seed. And the same goes for the Oklahoma Sooners, winning 93-87 over the Mississippi State Bulldogs. State, of course, coming off a massive win over Texas A&M, unable to rally that momentum, losing this one 93-87. Jeremiah Fears leading all scores with 27 points. Oklahoma needed this one bad, and they got it. They're keeping their tournament hopes alive, but they'll need to keep this momentum going if they want to stay on the right side of the bubble. Over in the Big 12, Houston, number 5 Houston playing host to Iowa State. The Cougars winning this one 68-59. Pretty low-scoring affair throughout. Got kind of chippy towards the end as the game got close. Houston pulled away late. L.J. Cryer leading all scorers with 28 points to lead the Cougars past Iowa State once again 68-59. In our one neutral site matchup, Duke against Illinois, ACC versus the Big Ten, and the ACC takes this one by knockout. Duke beats Illinois in Madison Square Garden 110-67. That's right, you heard that, 110-67. Isaiah Evans leading all scores with 17 points. Cooper Flagg putting in 16. Staying in the Big Ten, Oregon getting a massive road win over Wisconsin, and this one was not easy to do for the Ducks. They provided a great late comeback. They were down by double figures for a good portion of this ball game. Ended up coming back, hitting a big-time three to send it to overtime, and rolling that momentum into overtime. Nate Biddle leading all scorers with 23 points. The Ducks beat the Badgers 77-73. Over in the ACC, number 18 Clemson at SMU. SMU really needed this one to keep their bubble chances alive. Clemson winning 79-69. Louisville playing host to Florida State. It was not pretty for the Cardinals. They came in 13.5-point favorites only winning the game by 8, and it really was closer than that 8-point margin might indicate. Still, a win is a win for Louisville, winning 89-81. Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, following an upset loss to TCU, bounced back big, getting a massive victory over West Virginia, winning 73-51. They've got a big one tonight. We'll get to that momentarily. Out west, Saturday night, BYU traveling to Tucson to take on the Arizona Wildcats. A very controversial ending in this one. A foul called when I think we all look at the replay and we don't see a foul in this one. But this game was one for basketball lovers. A great game throughout. Very high scoring, very fun to watch. Arizona came in as a 7.5-point favorite. Lose this one by 1, 96-95. Richie Saunders hitting 2 free throws to give BYU the victory. And on Sunday, St. John's continues to roll over UConn in this one, 89-75. We all know how good of a coach Dan Hurley is. We know the rings he's got. We know why he's got the rings. This team he's got just is not as good as those teams in the past. Still, they could definitely make some noise in the tournament. They've got some experience on the roster, but I would take St. John's over UConn every day of the week, and they sure look like the much better team here, winning the first half by 18, winning the game by 14. Indiana in the Big Ten playing host to Purdue. Big win over the Boilermakers. The Hoosiers were down by 12 at halftime, winning the second half by 27 points to win the game by 15. And over in the American Conference, Memphis taking care of FAU. 84-65. The Tigers looking to move and stay in that 5 to 6 seed range, maybe even looking to get higher than that, but they've got to be careful throughout the rest of their season. A lot of landmines sitting there for them. Great win there by 19. And over in the NBA, the Cavaliers playing host to the Memphis Grizzlies. Donovan Mitchell leads all scorers with 33 points, winning 129-123 over the Grizzlies. The Thunder travel to Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves. They win this one 130-123. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander poured in 37 points. Anthony Edwards adding in 29 of his own points. Not enough for Minnesota, as once again, OKC wins this one 130-123. And in Boston yesterday, the Knicks traveling to Boston take on the Celtics. The Celtics win 118-105. Jason Tatum leading all scorers with 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. Looking at tonight's slate in college basketball, the obvious game of the night, a top 10 matchup between two Big 12 teams. 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern tip on ESPN. Houston on the road to Lubbock, Texas to take on number 9, Texas Tech. Houston is a 1.5-point road favorite at the moment. This is going to be some incredible basketball. Two teams playing really, really well at the moment. Houston definitely playing better, but on the road here, will that be enough to carry them over the top? Once again, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Michigan on the road at Nebraska. This one a toss-up at this point, as it should be. Nebraska playing some good basketball as of late, winning 3 of their last 5 games. They'll need to play some great basketball tonight to take down the Wolverines of Michigan. That tip-off at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. And out west, later in the evening, Kansas on the road at Colorado. The Jayhawks, a 6.5-point road favorite. Colorado, a big upset win over Baylor. They'll look to roll that momentum into tonight. 11 p.m. Eastern tip on ESPN. And over in the NBA tonight, the Timberwolves and Thunder. Yes, they are playing again. This one an 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern tip on NBA TV. The Thunder are favored by 12.5 points. And your NBA League Pass game of the night comes to you from Indiana. The Denver Nuggets taking on the Indiana Pacers. Denver, a 5.5-point road favorite over the Pacers. 7 p.m. Eastern tip, once again on NBA League Pass. And that will wrap up today's episode of Hoops Talk with Dave. I'm your host, Dave Smith. Thanks for tuning in on this Monday. We've got a lot of fun, a lot of postseason action coming before you know it. The first day of March is this Saturday, and we've got some madness beginning then. Be sure to check out the great action on the slate tonight. I'll be back with you tomorrow for a full recap. Once again, I'm Dave Smith. Thanks for tuning in to Hoops Talk with Dave.